Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Donna and this is Kingsley, my Australian king parrot. In today's video, I wanted to go over some symptoms of a sick bird and what you can do if your bird is sick. Alright, so some symptoms of a sick bird would be if your bird is sitting there all puffed out, like all day. They do puff out when they're very content and they're going to sleep, but if they're puffed out all day, just sitting, in one spot, and that's not the normal thing for them, they could be sick, and it means that they're chilled. When they puff out, they're trying to hold in their heat. Another symptom is if your bird holds its wings out and it starts to pant, it means the bird is overheated. It could have a fever. If your bird's tail is bobbing up and down, if it looks different to you, like it's never done it before, then your bird has a problem. And sometimes when the tail is bobbing, it could be breathing heavily. That's why the tail bobs, because they're not breathing properly. And sometimes they do close their eyes and you can see them breathing, like mouth breathing. Their mouth is opening while they breathe. If your bird has any discharge from the nostrils or from the eyes, the ears or their mouth, any discharge anywhere, that's a health concern. Vomiting is a symptom. Now you have to know the difference between vomiting and regurgitation. They're both different. That when they vomit, it comes out of their mouth and they shake their head and there's vomit all over. The vomit gets all over their head, their face, all over the cage. You'll see just food flying everywhere. That would be vomiting, which means the bird is sick. Now if the bird has closed eyes or just half closed, they're half closed and they can't open them all the way, the eyes look smaller, they're crusty, then you have to take your bird to the vet. Another symptom is exercise intolerance. If your bird was flying around happily with no problems before and all of a sudden it can't seem to fly, or when it flies, it stops and it's panting, it can't breathe, it's getting weaker, the wings are drooped, it just doesn't have any energy, it's lethargic, listless, and any changes in the droppings, in the uretes or the feces. But if you see, tarry black stool, that's not good. It could be bleeding inside. If you see bright green uretes or yellow uretes, that could mean liver problems. Anything that's different or more uretes, a lot of water droppings, could mean a kidney problem. So you can tell a lot of health problems from just looking at your bird's droppings. And if your bird has stopped eating, especially its favorite foods, or eating, at all, or just eating minimal, or even stopped drinking water. If your bird has lost weight, and you would know this by weighing your bird on a regular basis. Sometimes you can't tell because all the feathers, will cover the bird's body and they'll look fine. But sometimes even just by picking them up, they'll feel lighter to you. So you want to weigh your bird and see if they are losing weight. And sometimes they'll eat a ton of food and still lose weight. Now if your bird stops preening itself, if the feathers look dull, out of place, just messed up, if the bird is plucking itself excessively and there's bald spots, if you see any barrings on your bird, they look like black stripes, that could be stress, it could be other things as well. Any holes in the feather, that could be feather mites, they could have red mites, they just could have any disease really when they have problems with their feather and when they stop, Kingsley here on the camera, when they stop cleaning themselves. Now if your bird's beak and nails all of a sudden start growing very, very long, that means your bird can have a health problem. If you notice any blood on your bird, any lumps or bumps, and whoa, there goes Kingsley. Any lumps or bumps, and there goes Kingsley, come here, what are you doing? Oh, I blew all of my papers away that I was looking at. All right, there. Come here, silly. Come on. Oh my gosh, what'd you do? Yeah, look at my hair now. What'd you do to my hair, you silly goose? Anyway, I was saying that was funny, right? Anyways, if you see any blood on your bird, it could be like a broken blood feather. It could be a cyst or anything on your birds. It could be a wound. They could be biting themselves and make themselves bleed. But definitely get that checked out. You don't want to mess around with blood on your bird, right? You want to check it out and see what it is because they don't have a lot of blood to lose. And any lumps any swellings, you know, by the vent. If it's a female bird, it could be egg bound. They could have tumors. If you notice your bird at the bottom of the cage a lot, or the way it sleeps, if it sleeps, you know, just standing up on 2 feet, its head's not tucked back, because usually they sleep with their head tucked back and they have one leg up and they're sleeping contently. If they have like a bad posture all of a sudden, anything like that, anything abnormal, you want to get it checked out. And remember that birds hide their illness really well. So you might want to stand back further, like in another room, and kind of peek in under at your bird and see what your bird looks like. Because when you come into the room, they're going to look normal. When my birds get sick, I bring them to the vet. They look normal in front of the vet. So what I do, and what you should do, is take videos of your bird, pictures of your bird, when it looks sick, or if it's vomiting, if it's limping, any lameness, any wing problems, anything. Sometimes they will have seizures. Sometimes they'll have a head tilt. They might have a neurological problem where they turn in circles, spin in circles. So that's all abnormal. So if your bird just looks off, always take your bird to the vet, because sometimes it's too late. Your bird isn't showing the symptoms because it sees you. So you have to stand back, look around the corner and see what your bird is doing. But a really sick bird will show the symptoms in front of you. And let's just hope that you can catch it on time and bring your bird to the vet. So the very first thing that I do is I call my avian vet and make an appointment. That's the very first step. And you know, depending on where you live, it might be very hard to find an avian vet. So you have to take care of your bird before you go to the vet, because some vets can't take you right away. So you have to make your bird comfortable and keep it safe before you go to the vet. So the first thing you do is call your vet. So I'm going to show you how to keep your bird comfortable before you go to the vets. So the first thing you want to do is take your bird away from your flock. If you have any other flock members, you want to take the bird away from the flock and set it up in a travel cage or a makeshift incubator for warmth. Because the first thing a sick bird needs is warmth. And usually the temperature should be around 26 to 29 degrees Celsius or 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And what I do for warmth, come here sweetie, is I cover the cage. Do you want to go in? Do you want to try? There we go. So this would be for a bigger bird. Already fits in there. I do have several different types of cages that I can use. So I cover the top, the back, the sides with a blanket, the warm blanket. And sometimes when birds are not feeling well, they like to be, you know, in the dark, right? They like the darkness. And what I do, kinky, is I get a heating pad. So I put this heating pad, I turn it on low, and I put it under the cage. I don't put it in the cage. All right, so I have the heating pad under the cage and not inside the cage. And also what I do is I put a towel on the bottom of the cage, but then I cover it with a paper towel, just so when the bird goes to the bathroom, you can change the paper towel and leave the towel there. You want to put something soft at the bottom, because if the bird is weak and it falls down, you know, it won't hurt itself. And sometimes the bird will go to the bottom of the cage, and it would be nice and cozy for the bird because the heat is coming from the bottom of the cage. And you never want to leave just paper or nothing on the bottom when you have the heating pad on, because it might be too hot. So you can put a towel, you know, if your heating pad doesn't have a towel, you can put a towel on top of your heating pad and then something on the bottom of the cage, just so that there's like radiant heat coming from the bottom of the cage. And another heat source that I use is, I really love this product, it's a K&H Bird Snuggle Up Warmer. This can go in the cage and it attaches to the side of the cage, and you can put it right by a perch. So this is what the Bird Snuggle Up looks like. I usually attach it just above the perch, and the bird can, you know, snuggle up if they want to. If they don't want to, they can move away from it. It's just like radiant heat. It's just, you know, warm. And if they want to get extra warmth, they will snuggle up to that. I use this heater in the winter as well. If it's a really cold winter day or during the night when they're sleeping, just for extra warmth. If the birds want to get warm, they have the choice to go close to it or not. So these travel cages are great. I mean, great for traveling, going to the vet, and can make great hospital cages. As you can see, I have several sizes. You can get different sizes for your bird, even a small one for like a canary or a budgie. In these cages, you can all put the heating pad under, but just remember, the smaller the cage, the more heat will be coming up, so you want to monitor the heat source. You can get a thermometer that way, and you can check it once you have the blankets over the cage. You don't want to get the bird too hot. If you see your bird like panting or its wings away from its body, which means it's overheated, you want to reduce the heat, because you don't want to overheat your bird too much, especially if he's already heated, right? And if your bird does have a fever or overheated, like when you see it sick, don't provide any heat because it's already hot. So these are nice little cages. This one's kind of neat because the sides are, solid, so it provides a little bit more warmth, and you can put the blanket just on the back half that way. And they usually come with little perches, but they're usually plastic, so that's why I like to cover them with vet wrap to make them more grippable, because plastic is very slippery. I got an itch. So you don't want your bird to slip. Even when your bird is healthy, plastic perches aren't great for birds. Also, you can makeshift some incubators where it's really warm. These are solid, solid sides and everything for your bird. These are good for birds that are severely injured, that shouldn't be moving around. Say it has a broken leg, because you don't want to put it into like a cage type, because if they crawl up the bars, their broken leg will, get injured more, or their wing will get stuck in the bars. So if you want it solid, I recommend like a little bin. These come in lots of different sizes. It does have a lid. Obviously, you're not going to do this, right? He won't be able to breathe. So what I suggest is you make the lid, you can make a mesh lid. You just cut out the middle. And some hamster people have these bin cages like I do. I have a bin cage for my hamster, and I cut out the plastic and I put mesh here, and I just use duct tape. I taped it on with duct tape, and that way there's venting, and you can still use the lid, but there's mesh on the top where your bird can breathe. And you always, of course, put something soft on the bottom. Now, when you're using solid containers, you want to be careful using a heat source, especially underneath this, because it's all plastic or glass. It's going to get really hot, so you might not even need the heat. And then again, you can put the thermometer inside here, and you can check for the heat. You can also use like a hot water bottle, wrap it up in a towel, or just even a water bottle with hot water, put it in the corner, wrap it around with a towel. You can do that. So try to figure out what you want to use for a heat source. And if you use an aquarium, you can actually get the lids that they sell, where they sell aquariums. It's a mesh lid, and it fits over top of the tank. And a lot of people use these tanks with the lids for hamsters or for lizards. So you don't want to put a solid lid on top, because the bird needs to breathe. And you can still get the mesh lid and put a towel around a little bit of it, like especially the back, so it's dark, because you don't want a lot of light coming in. Well, when your bird is sick, they like to be, dark. All right, this one is a critter keeper. This comes in different sizes, and it comes with a lid that's already vented. See all these holes? Your bird can breathe from there, and it has a little door here, right here, that you can get into. So this is a nice option. It's lightweight compared to aquarium. It's pretty heavy. You can just carry this to your vet, and you want to cover up some of it with the blanket so it's not scared, and you want to keep it dark, right? But don't cover up the whole thing, obviously. You can put a thermometer in there, and like a heat source, like a hot water bottle, or just a plain bottle that's with hot water. Wrap a towel around it for a heat source. Again, you got to be careful using the heating pads on any of these, because it'll get very hot inside there. But this is a nice option if you don't feel like making the bin cage there, or have to lift an aquarium up. Which one you like? Which one you like? These are all too small for you. They are. Yes, they are. I'm sure we can get a big, huge bin for you though, right? Yeah. The next step, once you got your hospital cage set up, is you want to make sure your bird has food. And what I do for when a bird is really sick and they can't climb or go on the perches, or just better off, I usually use these ceramic bowls. I have different sizes of ceramic bowls, because they usually sit on the bowl and it might tip over. So if you get a heavy bowl, they can't really tip it over. And I like to place the bowls in the bottom of the cage. I put one water, and their favorite food. And also what I do is I give them millet, because all birds love millet. Sick birds and baby birds, birds that aren't eaten, will normally take millet. So I either clip it to, near the perch. I let it hang on the floor, or just place it on the floor as well so that the bird can eat it. And always give them their favorite food. If they like seeds, give them seeds, because you want your bird to eat. And once it's back to its normal health. Do you want some millet, baby? Kingsley wants some millet. You can feed it what it should be eating later on. Hey, sweetie. So Kingsley wants to eat some millet. Come on, sit up there and eat some millet. Always make sure to have millet on hand. I find it's really good for the sick birds. They will normally eat it. It's soft, and they'll eat it. So you want to make sure your bird is eating and drinking as well. And the best thing to do is keep everything really clean. You want to clean the hospital cage like all the time, like 2 or 3, 4 times, as many times a day as you can, because especially if they're on the ground, they're going to be pooping a lot where they sit. So you want to clean that away. Just use paper towel and just replace it as often as you can. You especially don't want a sick bird sitting in their own mess. I hope my video helped you learning some symptoms of the sick bird and what to do if your bird is sick before you take your bird to the avian vet. I do have a playlist on bird care videos that I'll put down below in the description. You can go check it out and learn some more about birds. If you're just new to birds, it's very important that you know all that you can. Always study and research, and I hope your bird doesn't get sick. But if he does or she does, I hope your bird gets the treatment that they need. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Do you want to say bye, Kingsley? Over there? Say bye-bye. You want to say bye? He's like, no, just give me another treat, Mommy. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye! Whoa, there goes Kingsley. Any lumps or bumps? There goes Kingsley. Come here. What do you do? Oh, I threw all of my papers away that I was looking at. Alright, there. Come here, silly. Come on! Oh my gosh, what'd you do? Yeah, look at my hair now. What'd you do to my hair, you silly goose?